I'm Jean Peraculo. I'm with the De La Salle University in the Philippines. I'm going to talk about my paper which came out in the Asia Pacific Social Science Review, second issue in the year 2017. The title of my article is Living with Endometriosis in the Philippines, and it basically revolves around the question, what is it like to live with endometriosis in the Philippines? And it basically describes my own health-seeking behavior and my own search for a cure, which took me a long time, starting when I was in my early 20s. So what I uncover is a major concern because it adds to already known accepted view of the intertwining categories of class and gender, especially as it is played out in Philippine context. So, what is endometriosis? So, endometriosis is a chronic painful condition which affects millions of women in the world in their reproductive years. And what makes it really a concern is that it is painful and debilitating, and it is over and beyond the normal quote-unquote symptoms of menstruation. And because of the stereotypes surrounding menstruation, a lot of times, and really most of the time, endometriosis is left undiagnosed for a long time. And one of its effects is actually infertility. So in my own health-seeking behavior, in trying to look for a cure for my own endometriosis, I experience a lot of not just pain, but also inconveniences that impact on how I look at the world and how I regard being a woman. And so the paper describes that experience, and it started actually apart from a short description of endometriosis that which I found really troubling, was that when I look at PubMed Central, which is an online repository of about 4 million scientific articles in the internet, I found out that there was zero paper, no paper at all that made a study on the prevalence of endometriosis in the Philippines. And many of the related studies would be about dysmenorrhea, which is the painful experience of menstruation, but not really specifically on endometriosis, although in many Asian countries such as Singapore and Japan, many articles have come up with studies related to endometriosis, and of course there are many studies on American and European context. So in my own search, I encountered a lot of interventions, starting, as I mentioned, when I was 21. And so my gynecologist prescribed to me birth control pills, and it was my first time to encounter birth control pills, actual birth control pills, coming from a very conservative Catholic background, and I had no idea previous to that the birth control pills could actually help in regulating the pain, and I took them really religiously, so to speak. But then when I entered my 30s, the pain would become even more unbearable, and which actually led me to seek out multiple specialists with regard to this condition, and multiple ultrasound tests would reveal that I had endometriosis. And nevertheless, it took me about 9 years to come to terms with the option of surgery, and so you could just imagine how long it took me, to deal with this condition in the best way possible. And in the paper, I describe about how, as a professor and with a tenured position, I was able to afford, and in fact, I continue to access quality health care, which I am afraid is not accessible to many of Filipino women in their reproductive years. So the paper describes that as well. And it also uh, touches on many of the social safety nets which are present in the Philippines, such as social security system, provision on partial disability claims, and women who are suffering from, who have undergone surgery could actually ask for at least 2 months leave off from work, and these benefits are actually guaranteed by the Magna Carta of Women Law, which I wrote in the paper as a particular inspired piece of legislation that I feel is actually helpful to Filipino women.